Fala aí pessoal, quem está falando é Arthur, vamos para a construção de Stories, The Path of Destinies e bora para o vídeo. Bom galera, agora a gente vai fazer o destino de ir atrás da como é que era? SkyRipper.
As he set foot in the island, Renato could not help but feel a tinge of guilt.
Beleza, temporada do Imperador, vamos nessa.
He hoped the Mad Rabbit had somehow escaped the ravens. He hoped they hadn't eaten him. If they had.
Caramba, que tem um labirintozinho até.
Why
Vamos ver, chama um baú.
the SkyRipper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The SkyRipper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Bom, tô achando interessante que os caminhos que nós temos aqui pegar a armadura da SkyRipper. Mas nós temos vários baús aqui para achar essa SkyRipper, coisa que a gente não tinha anteriormente.
Make with all these sword crafting materials, thought Renato.
Tinha uma outra bifurcação aqui, ó. Tá vendo? Tem vários baúzinhos aqui. Nossa, esse caminho compensa muito caso eu queira farmar em itens. Beleza, chegamos aqui em mesa de trabalho. Vamos ver. A gente pode. Não falta fazer, mas a gente consegue fazer essa. Fazer de fogo, pelo menos. Acender inimigos. Olha nisso a gente consegue. Olha que legal. Ó, já começamos uma jornada bem. Vamos ver se tem alguma joia. Eu acredito que não. Não. Beleza, mas agora a gente consegue ter uma espada secundária aqui. Beleza, estamos num castelo aqui, bem insano. Ah, mas esse me drenou uma vidinha, hein? Beleza. Hey!
I'm a firefox, thought Renato.
Ah, tem uma paredinha aqui, por isso que eu não consegui, eu já ia atacar eles.
The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The SkyRipper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the transcendent emperor had fought the lost gods, thousands of thousands had died. But Renato had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one.
Vamos ver se a gente tem ups. Acredito que nós temos dois disponíveis e a gente pode vir para esse caminho de baixo. Aumente o vigor máximo. Esse é interessante. Esse, verdadeira espada full. Não posso mover através deles, não funcionam inimigos com escudo. Enganchar, esse daqui eu acho que é interessante. E o vigor, talvez. No vigor eu não sei, talvez eu teria que ter esse, talvez. Ou esse. Beleza. Como é que eu chego ali? Eu não sei. Ah, eu posso colocar a espada uma vez que eu tenho uma espada, eu acho. Nice. Aqui eu não tenho espada.
Can I borrow that?
Mais XP. Nice.
Renata had been the terror of the sandcastle, but he was too...
Tá ficando mais difícil os inimigos. Tipo, apesar de ter recomeçado a história, eu tenho quase certeza que os inimigos estão mais difíceis. Beleza. A verdade por trás dos SkyRipper está em volta num desse nevoeiro. A história mais credível é de que o imperador transcendente usou o SkyRipper para expulsar Iblis. Aí o IT enterrou a arma e assumiu. Será que foi um exílio antipiedoso para livrar o mundo de sua última presença divina? Ou será que foi o processo a pagar para usar um poder assim tão tremendo? Será que SkyRipper e Iblis têm uma ligação profunda além de uma mera arma em sua vítima? Meus rituais irão convocar a pedra Iblis. Talvez me devesse preocupar com o fato de que eles virem a fazer com que SkyRipper volte à superfície. Se isso acontecer, não devemos recursos para encontrá-lo. Uma arma que pode expulsar um deles é uma moeda de troca de valor inestimável, caso deuses antigos decidem atraiçoar. Está-lhes no sangue tentar, mas os deuses são previsíveis e posso fiar nisso para sempre estar um passo à frente. Diário secreto do Imperador em Seguir 3.
If only he had some way to break the ice. Or convince it he was a friend.
Meu Deus.
Anyone ever tell you have a lovely eye? No?
Tá calmo, porque já tá sem vida. Beleza. Talvez seja interessante aumentar um pouco da biomassa.
Is that your shield?
Eu preciso de uma vida meio que urgente.
Ah, a puzzle. Renata loved puzzles. Except he couldn't figure them out. On the other hand, if there was a puzzle, it was probably meant to keep people away from something good.
Beleza, puzzle resolvido. Vamos ver se nós temos uma vida por aqui.
What's there? Already Renata knew more than the other hand. But about what?
Podia pagar uma vida. Nossa, que valeu a pena. Consegui uma joia pela primeira vez.
That had been his mistake before, not trusting Zenobia's feelings for him. But how could he have known, after all these years of silence? See? That wasn't so hard.
Puzzle aqui. Beleza, um altarzinho. Bom, aumentar mais o dano no limiar de combo para atacar a distância, talvez. Ou a vida, acho que a vida máxima é uma boa. Aumentar um pouco da vida máxima, tô precisando. Chegamos, hein? Ali está uma armadura de SkyRipper.
Stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate.
Vamos ver o que aconteceu agora com o Lapino.
No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. SkyRipper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well,
beleza.
There was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him.
Bom, vamos continuar atrás da SkyRipper, porque eu tô seguindo essa ideia agora.
He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels. War demanded sacrifices, and he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core. Obviously, he had to get the core.
Beleza, vamos nessa.
He looked up at the old trees around him. They were so big and so old. They'd been there before he was born, and they'd be there after he'd passed into legend.
Olha, escolhi me segue, que legal.
His own unimportance. What had got into him? He was no philosopher. Anyway, who cares? He was plenty important. He was a hero, and soon he'd prove it.
Nossa, bastante coisa de fogo aqui. Esse caminho da SkyRipper dá bastante recursos assim que os outros caminhos não deram, sabe, no começo. Ou pode ser porque, né, eu meio que evoluí, subi uns níveis a mais e tal, o jogo tá dropando mais coisinha, talvez seja isso. Se for pra lá não tenho volta, então talvez eu não queira ir pra lá agora. Vamos ver o que tem aqui, SkyRipper. Saltar para baixo, também não me parece que tem uma continuação muito digna de não. Eu gostei do jogo no geral, o crafting dele é muito gostosinho, sabe? Não é um negócio super difícil. É catar minério, uns efeitinhos que vem em baú, ou às vezes umas caixinhas.
What were these poles exactly? Parking meters from the time of the lost gods?
E a história do jogo, tanto quanto o andar do jogo, é bem tranquilo na minha opinião, acho bem gostosinho. É, a gente voltou pra cá, então ele era só um bônus, mas valeu a pena. Nessa, traz a SkyRipper. Grande cenário, não? Aqui tem muito baú. Beleza.
There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time.
coisa boa, coisa
Couldn't
boa.
find high quality ore like this just anywhere. Just anywhere with chests.
Nossa, a tela tá suja do jogo. Achei que a minha tela do jogo tava suja nesse nível. Não morre. Não agora. Beleza.
There were fewer and fewer trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest. The mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? He was getting hungry.
Tenho XP suficiente
This
para
was an
upar.
unhealthy place to be.
Nice.
Hey, did you guys ever learn to swing dance? Oh, well, too late.
Quase morro. E aí, cadê os balls do jogo, velho? Eu preciso muito de uma vida, pelo amor de Deus. Vida, energia, o que for. Núcleo. Bom, a gente conseguiu chegar pelo menos ao núcleo.
Made him feel
Muito
physically
lá.
sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark arts and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. He carried his prize back to the Farfell. Now, he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the Nexus. Maybe he should go there before he fired it.
Bom, aqui eu vou usar a mesma coisa cautelosa. Eu vou ir por aqui. Não sei porque tá aparecendo triângulo. Eu tô jogando com controle de GameCube. Aí agora aparece Y e aqui aparece Y. Beleza, mas dá pra mudar isso? Agora é uma pergunta. Não, então beleza. Eu vou procurar a ajuda dos cientistas. Eu sou cauteloso e sempre serei.
If you've just assembled a weapon out of legend that can exile gods from the world, you'd want to have a scientist or two look at it. And even if they disagreed and he had time, you could ask Calaveras himself. Yes, the observatory would be his objective.
Vamos lá, porque a gente não quer matar uns soldados, a gente quer acabar com o Imperador.
Why had the parts of the SkyRipper only surfaced now, thousands of years after the transcendent Emperor had dismantled it? The mad Emperor Isengrim had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Was that why these ancient artifacts were rising out of the ground? How perfect, then, that the SkyRipper would reappear to be his destruction.
Não, beleza, tá muito bem.
Praise the sun.
Praise the sun, que é a do Dark Souls. Tem volta, talvez tenha baú.
Ice
Então.
walls only let you through if they knew you were cool.
Um pouco de energia já dá um pouco de vida. Beleza. Não quero vir, eu quero dar uma explorada de onde a gente veio anteriormente.
What else could you hook?
Não, tinha minério aqui largado, tá vendo? Parece continuação. Eu vim daqui de baixo? Né, eu vim daqui. Beleza. Aqui não dá pra voltar. Vamos nessa. Beleza, tá indo bem. Um pouco mais de XP a gente consegue upar, mas é importante sempre pegar as itens que tem no cenário e energia. Agora eu tô mais equipado do que das outras vezes, eu diria. Aí, fechou. Nice.
Sometimes, Renata really hated inanimate objects. A legendary weapon was exactly what the rebellion needed. They were outnumbered. The once kind emperor had become a tyrant. But his ravens stayed loyal, for he fed them his victims, and the other animals were too frightened to rebel. Renato shuddered at what the emperor was trying to do. To bring back the lost gods, the black harvest, the black sun. No. He would stop that toad, no matter what the risk. Hey! Hey,
Nossa, trabalho finalmente.
You could try out his new bling.
Puta, falta uma de essência de água e uma de essência de fogo. Quase, galera, quase. Vamos ver agora os joias. Agora a gente tem joias. Energia da matéria alimento recupera 3 de energia de espada. Isso é realmente interessante. Beleza. É isso. Vamos nessa. Eu já estive aqui antes.
I hear black. Boy, some people were just liable to explode if you upset them.
Esteja atento aos corvos explosivos. Quando eles são atingidos ou atirados, eles explodem após alguns segundos. Use-os para o seu benefício. Beleza. Estão massacrando aqui.
It was time to turn it into something he could use.
Beleza, tá muito bem. Será que eu consigo voltar naquele dente? Vamos ver se a gente consegue voltar lá naquele bench. Na mesinha. Ah, não dá. Nice.
Renato wondered if it wasn't cheaper to build bridges and stairs.
Aqui travava toda vez. Tomara que não trava dessa vez. Eu vou até passar direto com essa aqui ao final.
Renato was thrilled. The scientists seemed to think he'd put the SkyRipper together right. But one toad was worried.
Yeah, SkyRipper could tear a hole in existence itself. There are invisible strings that tie the universe together. If SkyRipper cut one, the hole would widen and widen till our whole existence fell into it.
Another toad sighed.
Irving still believes in string theory. At least go see Calaveras.
Yeah, said the worried toad.
He knows more than anyone else has forgotten about the Transcendent Emperor.
If anyone could tell him how to use this weapon safely, it would be Calaveras. It was he who had told Renato how to find it in the first place. But maybe he had to give up on using it as a weapon. Maybe he had to go to the secret rebel base and ask the generals there what he could do with a weapon that he dared not use.
Mais uma autoridade ou tentar usar? Bom, vamos para Calaveras.
Well, he should have known he'd have to consult Calaveras again. The scientists at the observatory were smart enough. But what did they know of the Transcendent Emperor? He hoped it wouldn't delay him too long. The rebels had scheduled the final battle soon. Every day they delayed risked the exposure of the secret base. And some soldiers were already drifting back to their homes and families. Calaveras would fix the SkyRipper for him. And then he would win the final battle.
Essa é a ideia mesmo. No literal. A gente tem que aperfeiçoar ela até o final.
But after a few steps, Renato's optimism started to slump. What if Calaveras couldn't help? Did Renato dare use the SkyRipper? Oh, he hated that he had chosen this path. It was so much simpler to rescue friends and attack enemies, even if some of those friends were more trouble than his enemies. Some of those enemies had been friends before and might be lovers after. No, okay, it wasn't all that much simpler. No. Physics made his brain hurt. That, at least, he was sure of.
Beleza.
There was a cat in this one, and something useful.
Vamos nessa, tá indo bem, tá indo bem. Vamos ver se o Calaveras vai ter a nossa resposta. Beleza.
He tried to focus on the now. The ravens who seemed everywhere all the time. Where did they hatch from? Were there giant raven hatcheries somewhere, or did they have families? Ooh, he didn't want to think about raven mummies raising their darling raven chicks. Yeah, Calveras would help. He would make Renato feel better about using the SkyRipper. And then Renato wouldn't have to worry about ravens ever again.
Os feitiços estão dando nos nervos. Feiticeiro desgraça, velho. Ali não tem volta. Aqui talvez tenha, mas não sei dizer não. Talvez não também.
Imagine getting a horse up in one of these things. He would be cursing a blue streak.
Alright, so nice. Estamos indo bem. Desgraçado.
The way they could hurt you and you couldn't hurt them back.
Beleza. Tem um caminho por aqui, eu posso voltar. Nossa, mais uma pedra do vazio. Nice.
Smashing things was fun.
Nessa. Queria um negocinho de fazer armas.
He was sort of yanking his own chain, wasn't he?
Passei por aqui também.
The rebels were counting on Renato. He hoped Calaveras knew what he was doing.
Mais vida. Show. Vida 150 já ajuda bastante. Aí o Calaveras. Foi onde eu matei a mina aqui nesse.
Calaveras had never let him down.
Yeah, of course I can make it work better.
But when Renato explained about the strings, Calaveras grew thoughtful.
Oh, strings, you say? Well, the Arcana do speak of the ties that bind the world.
He drew many intricate symbols in the dirt.
Yeah, so According to my calculations, each time you fire, I'm afraid there's a 1 in 128 chance you'll destroy the universe.
That's pretty good odds. That's like rolling, what, 21 dice and they all come up 6. What are the odds of that?
What? No! It's more like 2.716s in a row.
Anyway, with those odds, it won't happen if I use it just once.
What? No. That's so not right. Look, each time you use it... Okay, look. Just don't use it ever. At all, okay?
All right, I guess. As he sailed away from the mountains, Bernardo could see clouds darkening. Rain? No. Ships. Imperial ships, swarming thick as bees. This was it. The big battle. They could not afford to lose this one. What if it did not go well? What if he had to use the SkyRipper? Could he gamble the universe? On the other hand, what were the odds of rolling 21 6s in a row? The battle was not going spectacularly well. What had the rebels been thinking? They'd been thinking he would bring the SkyRipper, or the Iblis Stone, or that he'd sideline Zenobia somehow, or turn her. Couldn't he use the SkyRipper just once? After all, if chances were 1 in 128, that meant he'd for sure be okay the first time. They'd get worse each time he used it, but the first time would be okay, right? He wasn't sure that it was right. So he didn't fire the SkyRipper. He just brought it along, in case.
Ah, espada vazia não tem. Beleza, eu usaria. Que vai todo mundo sucumbir ao sapo mesmo.
The portal was heavily guarded. It must go someplace they really didn't want him to go.
Baús.
Good to practice your moves, thought Bernardo. Keeps you limber.
Beleza. Muito bem. Mais ou menos, né? A gente perdeu bastante vida porque eu tava testando esse poder de fogo desse Calibur aí. Vamos nessa. Não vou ficar perdendo muito tempo nessas caixas aqui não adianta de muito. Agora que a gente já aprendeu, né?
Place for a tic-tac-toe board.
Vamos rápido, sem perder tempo entre os navios.
Really bring out your eyes.
Está muito bem.
The odds didn't change just because you'd had a streak of good luck. His gut told him that was wrong, though, and he always listened to his gut. On the other hand, 128 chances to win, but one of them to destroy the universe. That seemed a bit serious. Maybe he could defeat the Emperor without firing the SkyRipper. Maybe he could bluff, but with a real weapon. Like in cards, when you had 3 knaves, but you pretended you had a fizzbin. That could work. Bernardo, smash!
O Bernardo mexe porque eu preciso de vida, né? Como é que eu vou continuar?
Sharp? Check. Pointy? Check. Flexible? Check. What else do you need in a sword?
Vamos indo bem, nenhum combate até agora, a gente tá com pouca vida, mas que dê tudo certo. Talvez seja um combate. Um cara novo, o que ele suga a minha energia? Os encantadores podem polir e curar inimigos, os caras polidos são mais perigosos, beleza. Beleza, estamos indo bem.
He set up the SkyRipper and let it warm up. He would bluff if he had to. Zenobia came out, flanked by a very daunting platoon of ravens. You won't actually use that, she said in that annoying, I know everything because I'm a cat and you know nothing because you're just a fox voice she had. Or I know the odds. Good, because there's a real chance you could destroy the universe. No, not the first time I use it. The odds are too low. What? No? Yeah, sure. The first time, the odds are practically nothing. They only go up if I use it a bunch more times. No, but that's not how odds work. Didn't you pay attention in class? Now surrender, or I'll use it. Just once, he said. Don't. He felt sure the odds were with him. You have to go with his gut. That's what heroes do. Fire, he said. Please? The SkyRipper fired. With a tremendous whoosh, the Emperor's flagship went up in flames. It was awesome. And then he noticed there was a hole in the air. A blackness, like a tear in a parchment. Wind was blowing into it, widening it. It grew larger, and even larger. Crates fell upwards into it, and the world itself seemed bent, like the reflection on a curved mirror, as it poured into the ravenous hole. Ah, 1 in 128. What are the odds? Thought Renato. And then everything fell into the hole and was gone.
Ah, não é possível.
Renato stared at the book. He was still alive. Again. And still only flying away from burning Ubar. Had he lived that adventure? Or only dreamt it? Had he really died? It felt so real, not like a dream at all. And he'd lost again. Oh, he hated that. But he had made different choices. And he'd lost in a different way. It was the book, wasn't it? Oracles showed you your destiny. But this was showing him different ways he could die miserably. Thanks a bunch, book, he thought. But these were destinies that he did not have to fulfill. But he'd learn another true thing. The core was powerful. but dangerous if used improperly.
Bom, beleza, a gente descobriu mais uma vertente aqui de baixo, o núcleo está estável. A gente tem, Zenobia tem sentimentos por Reynard, e agora a gente tem que ver, esse parece que é o do coelho dele, amigo dele lá, o Zapino, não lembro. E esse eu não tenho ideia. Bom, galera, mas eu vou ficando com esse vídeo por aqui, e vamos escolher, o que a gente vai escolher? Vai começar o próximo episódio.
Fluttered back once more to the beginning, and the clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the SkyRipper had surfaced. Bernardo knew
Já fizemos
it
esse.
could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The
Esse a
Emperor
gente
had
não
brought
foi.
the SkyRipper pieces up out of
Mas
the
é a pedra de
desert
Iblis
like
desse aqui é o
something
último.
Could this be where the Iblis stone was hidden? Someone better get it before he does, thought Renato. On the other hand, his old friend
Lapino.
Lapino needed rescuing. Lapino was no game changer, but could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Bom, vamos decidir encontrar o templo agora, pra gente ver essa tal de pedra.
The island was windswept desert. No one went there except ostriches and ostrich hunters. The Iblis stone. It sounded ominous. It sounded powerful. If the Emperor was searching for it, it must be dangerous. And so, Bernardo went ostrich hunting.
Bom, galera, eu vou ficando com esse vídeo por aqui. Se você curtiu esse vídeo, não esquece de like, se inscrever no canal, dar sininho para todas as novidades. Eu nem vou continuar lendo aí o restante dessa história que a gente vai ver no próximo episódio. E é isso aí, pessoal. Brigadão e é nóis.